Death of Hawkman issue 3. Mark Andreyko and Aaron Lopresti on writing and Mark Andreyko's writing and Aaron Lopresti and Rodney Buscemi are on art. So this is the third part of this, and remember last issue ended with Strange going to Hawkman, beaming over to Thanagar into his apartment and seeing Hawkman butt-ass naked because he needs his help, because obviously this political situation with the framing, almost, at least the assumed framing of Thanagar and a terrorist attack on Ran, and it's them kind of trying to deal with it. And most of the issue is basically Strange convincing Hawkman that this is going on, and them being on the run because the Thanagar police know he's there, and they have to sort of run away from them.
Right. With Alana making moves on Rand we're going to go to war with Thanagar, which doesn't add up to Hawkman because that's never been Rand's MO. You know, and he even mentions, no, man, we've been cool for the last couple years. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think he said it's the most cooperative time they've ever had is the last few years.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think if I have a complaint about this is I feel like Alana in this issue, there's a couple of scenes with her. The first one is her assuring the council, no, my husband isn't a traitor. He's not working with Thanagar on this. Because we know he's not. We know that he's with Hawkman to try and figure out what's going on. Yeah. But in the second scene, the ending scene, when it comes back to her, and they say, "Oh, we've just tracked that they've left, Thanagar on a ship. He's with Carter Hall." It's like, well, by any means necessary, we need to bring him in. It's like
I think it's down to that first scene where we do it. They go, yeah, but if he is, and she kind of is forced into going, well, then we'll have to deal with him then, because then he's a problem. And they've come to her and gone, look, this is the case. So she's kind of got no choice from a political standpoint but to agree with it.
But this is my problem with that, though, is how does him being on a ship with Hawkman, how's that shady?
He's a traitor, yeah.
Yeah, how does that mean he's a traitor? Any more than him just being there to speak to him? Because that's what they knew before. There's not really much new in the way of events that have happened.
I guess the fact that they're moving off planet, they're moving potentially in Rand's direction.
Yeah, but Hawkman didn't have anything to do with the explosion. It was this rogue group of Thanagarians, as far as Alana's concerned. And then when we see what Despero can do.
Yeah, we'll get to Despero in a minute, because obviously that's a big part of this issue. But
it definitely wasn't Thanagarians. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the problem I have with it, though, I'd buy that reason that she just has to, do this and say this because of her stance and because of her place in the council. But I didn't really get that from the writing, that's how she was feeling at the end. At the end, she just felt like, well, my husband's a traitor, I better go get him.
Which I think is going to play into her mind state, because she's not thinking properly.
Well, yeah, it's probably the spiral that's causing her to be heightened. And if that turns out to be the case, then fair enough. Well played. I can't argue with that. But it fell a bit off at the time.
Well, because she's the only survivor of this attack that probably has more psychic stuff to do with it than what we thought.
Well, yeah, because if the Sparrow's wanting to start a war, leaving someone alive to sort of spur on the events,
especially someone in a political, yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So the Sparrow's involved, and Hawkman and obviously Strange are aware of it, and that's why they're going off to his home planet to try and find him. And the Sparrow's basically goes home and frees a bunch of his fellow.
I forget their race.
Yeah, what's the species? I can't remember. But basically, all the other
the planet's called Calador. So
Caladorians.
Caladorian, we'll go with that. But he frees a bunch of them who were all locked up. Kills their oppressors and basically spurs. He basically gives himself an army, is for lack of a better phrase.
Despero,
because that's what Despero needs.
What's that, Connor?
Because that's what Despero needs, an army.
Yeah, exactly.
He can project his image across the galaxy, but
I am quite fond of Despero as a villain, I must say. I like Despero.
I feel he's often underutilized, though.
He is, but if you go back to the story I always like, we talked about this last week actually, Crisis of Conscience, which is the build up to Infinite Crisis. That's a Marvel word. I don't know what I did there.
Wrong company.
Yeah, wrong company. But no, the build up to Infinite Crisis with that arc, I really really like that. So that's kind of what made me a fan of him as a villain. So whenever he pops up again, I tend to get a little bit excited. So I like that he's the villain of this, and we'll see where this goes. Plus, there was a lot of, I mean, I actually did enjoy the issue as much as I brought up that one complaint I had. The banter and the bickering between Strange and Hawkman, and Hawkman happily being naked and Strange being like, I didn't even know you could grow hair there, and things like that, and just
they're a surprisingly great duo, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
It's because Carter's your. It's almost like if like in the Marvel movies, to just make a comparison to there, if you had like a team up of Ant-Man and Thor for like, I don't know, a story, kind of feels like that.
Yeah, I suppose. See, he's a bit too badass to be like Thor, because Thor's still a bit more relaxed. Yeah.
Well, okay.
Whereas Carter's just like, nah, I just want to hit stuff.
You know what I mean, though. He's very big, masculine, gruff. He has this, this drink and fight attitude. Whereas, whereas Strange is very unsure of himself and constantly like second guessing, and you shouldn't be enjoying this and blah blah blah. But no, I think their chemistry is pretty solid in this book.
Yep.
I think this book is way more enjoyable than any of us thought it was going to be based on the title of Death of Hawkman.
Oh, definitely.
So, no, that's good.